So, you know, there are lots of songs in Christianity about sharing our light, letting our light shine. And a lot of religions think of light, I don't think this is work. Oh, here it is. Okay. A lot of people think that our light comes from someplace outside of us. But in humanism, we really understand that our light comes from within. And so this light is actually pretty dim. And I think that actually was a perfect metaphor for what I wanted to talk about, is that sometimes our light does get dim and we need to refill it with something else. And in Christianity, you would do it by praying to God, asking God to refill you. But in humanism, we actually look for it in community. So coming together in a community like this one, coming together and seeing so many friendly faces and being together and walking together, that's how we refill our light. And so, I just wanted to really make the point. So I went out this morning to get a new battery. And so sometimes we have to refill our battery, and we can do that by talking. We can do that by talking to a friend. We can do that by we don't get a battery from outside, but we get it from being together. And so that's what I want you to think about as we talk about humanism today. And I'm not going to tell you that it's not okay to pray to a God or believe in a God, but what I'm saying is that there is also really important to remember that we can also refill ourselves in the ways that the humanists talk about, by being together in community, by finding our light from other people, by regenerating through worship, through prayer, through meditation, through yoga, through walk in the woods, through a kayak on the river, whatever feeds your soul. Gardening, I can think of a million things. Quilting, that feed your soul. Sit and read a book. Whatever it is that will regenerate you and get your battery up again, that's important to do, really important, because sometimes our lights get dim, but it all comes from within you. And now we will have our joys and concerns. Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we find meaning, a caring community where our joys are lessened. Let's take a moment to reflect on our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. Those who are here have had a chance to write in the book. Those on Zoom may write in the chat. And anyone in the sanctuary who would wish to express a silent joy or sorrow may pick up a pebble in the water and drop it in the water as the music plays.
We have two joys from the congregation. One, based on the handwriting, must be from Karen because the handwriting is so nice. Best wishes to our fathers. Second one is from Linda Carpeno. It was a joy to attend the No Kings protest rally at the Bourne Bridge Rotary yesterday. I went originally to perform a duty and ended up at a party experiencing collective effervescence, and it felt real good. I will add to that, I saw many people at the Falmouth rally yesterday. I heard this morning that Nell Fields estimated that there were 1,600 people at the Falmouth rally, which is about 5% of Falmouth's population. So.
In humble gratitude for all that makes up our lives, we remember that no joy or concern is isolated. For our lives are all interconnected in one great web, the presence of which blows with the wind and rises with the sea. Let us now enter into a time of prayer or meditation, as is your practice. We begin by breathing in peace and breathing out love.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Father's Day, celebration of all of our fathers. Yesterday, I too was at the rally on Falmouth Green with the 1,600 people, including many of the people in this room. And we met there and another 500 on the Bourne Rotary to stand up with millions of others around the country and elsewhere for democracy, equality, and compassion. And it did feel good. Today we meet to focus on humanism, and I'd like to explore with you how humanism can help us bring our divided country together and make our way of living and governing more sustainable. How can it help us change our direction to protect where we live and reverse the situation where most of our country feels disempowered. Humanism is the part of all of us when, rather than looking up to the heavens for a perfect solution, or demanding or fighting to win as much as we can, we look inside ourselves and across to each other for solutions where we all win. As diverse, creative humans, we can collaborate and innovate together. Our solutions may be imperfect and may not completely solve the problem, but could help us move significantly forward in a better and different direction. And diversity is the seed of innovation. When we work together, the more diverse our backgrounds, beliefs, styles, and needs, the more likely we are to come up with new ways forward. We cannot solve this problem alone or just with people with whom we have a lot in common. Humanism would have us focus not on what divides us, but what most of us have in common. Although we're a divided country, all sides of the divide have at least a couple basic priorities in common to allow us to work together. First, we all need to feel empowered to survive and protect ourselves, where we live, and the people we love. And second, we all want to feel safe and to have joy in our lives, for us, our children, grandchildren, and future generations. Does not everyone have those needs? The humanist path forward is by different groups who share these common basic needs to work together with mutual compassion, participatory democracy, and ethical behavior. We need to agree on the key things that matter most to most of us, knowing that not everyone can have everything they want, but most of us could have what we truly need. How do we get there? We can learn a great deal from humanists over the past 100 years to guide us forward, and here are suggestions from 10 well-known humanists. Albert Einstein. The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. And anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. Marie Curie. Nothing in life is to be feared, it is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so that we fear less. Mahatma Gandhi. The day the power of love overrules the love of power, the world will know peace. Gloria Steinem. Some of us are becoming the men we wanted to marry. Barney Frank. Some of us have suggested that poor should not simply be the objects of our programs, but also the subjects, that they should be actively involved in shaping the programs and making the decisions about how the money is spent. Margaret Atwood. Better never means better for everyone. It always means worse for some. Jonas Salk. I have had dreams and I have had nightmares, but I have conquered my nightmares because of my dreams. Katharine Hepburn. Love has nothing to do with what you're expecting to get, only with what you are expecting to give, which is everything. Mark Twain. Wisdom is the reward you get for a life of listening when you would rather have talked. And Carl Sagan. We are like butterflies who flutter for a day and think it is forever. So what is the humanistic path forward? To fly like butterflies, listen for wisdom from each other, follow our dreams, give everything in love, work with those in need, become those we would want to marry, draw from the power of love more than the love of power, seek to understand and imagine. And remember that together we will make mistakes, But through our diverse collaboration and learning from those mistakes, we will discover new and sustainable paths forward. May the humanism in all of us help us, with others, move in the right direction together.
Wow, mic drop. Do you need any more? Now we could just go to coffee hour. That was great. Thank you. May the humanism in all of us. We gather this morning not to conjure the divine, but to waken the divine within. Compassion, truth, and the ever human capacity to grow. Do you know that your brain continues to make cells? It's the only organ in your body that continues making cells even after you're dead. And brain cells are attached to every organ in your body. Isn't that fascinating? We have an innate capacity to grow throughout our lives. The flame of our chalice reminds us not of some supernatural force watching from above, but of our own light and the power that each of us hold when we gather in community. These are not gifts bestowed upon us from on high. They're actually tools that help us to sharpen our own lives. British humanist author Sarah Blakewell reminds us, humanism warns us against neglecting the tasks of our current world in favor of paradise. This is not a warning or telling us not to think about the afterlife, but it's a challenge to pay attention to right now. There is no one else coming to rescue us, no superhero, no superwoman descending from the skies or from Dedham. Then we have to ask, what now? What is our calling? Where do we turn for help? Having been just unanimously called as your minister, I need to say this quite plainly. I cannot fix this world on my own. I can't even make UU Falmouth better all by myself. But together we can do anything we decide to shine our light on. Humanism at its root calls us to this shared responsibility. It's not the work of any lone genius, no solitary savior. It's the work of communities, of us, taking responsibility for the world we share. The echo of this truth is ancient, but it resounds freshly in our own time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. This is not a boast. It's a call to agency, to maturity, to hope. What Unitarian Universalist humanism offers is a framework where meaning is not dictated by some sacred text or cosmic ruler, but emerges from human experience itself. And in fact, that's what I love about UU Falmouth, the vast wealth of human experience that exists here in this community. It's not about a faith in God who fixes things for us, but for people who grow, who change, who rise again and again and again. Bakewell says humanism is both a mirror and a map. A mirror reflecting back to us our flaws and our strengths, our failings and our possibilities. a map pointing us a way forward through despair, through division, to a world with a new way that we build together. We do live in a fractured world. Each day we're reminded of all the conflicts, ecological collapse, systemic injustice, racial and economic inequality, political toxicity, and spiritual fatigue. And yet underneath the noise and the chaos is something essential, something shared. As Lou pointed out, the desire to protect what we love, the need to feel safe and to be heard, the longing for meaning and connection and belonging. These are not partisan needs. They are human needs. The trouble is we don't always agree on what should be protected. Some of us protect our own status, our own property, our own tightly guarded identities, our own families. Others widen the circle, protecting not just our own, but all of life. The Humanist Manifesto reminds us of this deeper truth. Human dignity and mutual responsibility transcend national boundaries, cultural identities, and religious traditions. Unitarian Universalist humanists are part of the ones that believe real change is possible when we work together. We're not idealists without tools. We are pragmatic dreamers, sometimes rationalists. We believe in sustainability, democracy, inequality. We believe in compassion, not as charity, but as ethical responsibility. That means not advocating for others, but advocating with others. It means not being data-driven without being heartless. Principled without being rigid. Loving without being naive. My favorite UU humanist, hands down, is Howard Zinn. He's best known for A People's History of the United States and You Can't Be Neutral on a Moving Train. He writes, if we remember those times and places, and there are so many, where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us energy to act. And if we do act, in however small a way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an endless succession of presents. And to live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, it is a marvelous victory. To live now as we think humans should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is itself a marvelous victory. I love that. Zen reminds us that the past is not some graveyard of broken dreams. It's a treasury of examples of people who rise. History becomes not a burden, but a blessing if we let it fuel our courage. So, yes, let us return again to those powerful words. We are the ones we've been waiting for. This phrase, made famous by the poet and activist June Jordan, and later echoed by Alex Walker, by Barack Obama, and countless others, is not applause, it's a wake-up call. No savior is coming. No final answer is descending from a cloud of glory. If the world is to change, it will be because we changed it. If justice is to emerge, it's because we created that justice. If peace is to come, it's because we practiced it. Humanism does not promise ease. It promises agency. We don't get to shrug and say, well, that's just the way it is. We stand in the beautiful and the terrifying truth that we are free. And from that freedom, we must create something new all the time. Build on our strengths and begin again in love over and over and over again. But let us be clear, this is not a task you ever have to carry alone. Being part of the human family means you have plenty of people to lean on. There's no supernatural salvation. There is something that saves us over and over again, and that is grace. Grace in community. Grace is the laughter. Grace is in the gathering on Sunday mornings, the moment of crisis where we share coffee with a friend or remind each other that we're not alone. Every time we light our chalice, every time we sing a hymn or reach across a difference to understand, we are practicing grace. Not the grace of God, but the grace of our faith in the United States, faith in our communities, grace in us. To rise, to repair, to imagine more than what we inherited, to imagine more than what happened yesterday. In this way, humanism is deeply spiritual, not because it deals in mystery, but because it deals in meaning. It binds us to one another, to the earth, to our shared responsibility, to our shared becoming. So what might it look like to live these UU humanist values today? It might be finally having that difficult, loving conversation against political or generational divides. It might mean showing up to vote even when you know your vote hardly matters at all. It might mean turning off the screen and showing up at a rally, at a food pantry, at a governance meeting. It might mean teaching a child how to question and not just to repeat. It might mean giving money or giving time or giving space for someone else to speak. It might mean joining a congregation like this one, not to be comfortable, but to be challenged, not just to belong, but to build. And coming to church to recharge your battery like we relight the chalice. Humanism does not ask us to agree on everything. It only asks that we agree that we matter to each other, and that the world we dream of will not build itself. Reverend William F. Schultz, a powerful voice in UU humanism and global human rights, once said, "It's not enough for Unitarian Universalists to admire justice or even to love it. We must be justice, not merely to receive lofty principles, but to incarnate those principles. To do so imperfectly, yes, but to always try. To try to be justice, not to just admire it from a distance. Because this congregation, like the world, does not thrive by accident. It grows when we show up. It transforms when we bring our whole selves. It heals when we act not out of fear, but out of love. So today, may you remember, you were never here to be a bystander. You are not here by accident. You, each of you, are a vital part of this unfolding story. We do not need for someone else to arrive. We are already here, and we are the ones we've been waiting for.